call you.
Okay. Well, my name's Dwaine Omyer, and we are from Sandpoint, Idaho. And this is my wife, Tina. This is our second coach. We got into the Renegade family in 2016 with a Renegade Classic. And we've had that for 5 years, kind of had the family and the kids with us and traveled the Western United States, really had a good time with it. And then we just recently upgraded this year to a 2023 Classic, and really enjoy the experiences that we've had with it so far. And it's got all the things that we want in it. I mean, we learned a lot through our first coach. It was well appointed. IWS has done a tremendous job of setting us up for success. This second one, we came back to IWS and purchased, and Sam and team did a tremendous job of working with Renegade directly to make sure that we had all the things on it that we wanted to. It was a process. It took a little bit of a little while and some patience to work through, getting all the features and functions that we needed, but very pleased with the outcome. And the coach itself is a massive step up from what we had before. We had a 42-foot Classic and single axle, and now we're into the 45-foot dual axle Classic. And the horsepower difference, the 4 slides, the floor heating, the aqua hot, all massive changes from our previous coach. The drivability with the adaptive cruise and disc brakes all the way around, and all the modernization that's occurred with Freightliner has been great with this particular chassis. So that's from my perspective. I always talk about the mechanical aspects of it, but there's some creature comforts that you really you like. I think the heated floor or the aqua hot was something that you thought was in the residential.
We use it all in all weather environments all year round. We use this thing. So big difference. The residential fridge, completely a game changer. Full-size washer dryer stacked inside makes a big difference. I didn't think we'd really like it or want to use it, but we've used it a lot. And then just, the aqua hot and the radiant heat, what a big difference. Because when you're in cold environments, there's been times we've had to pull slides in because it's cold outside. And with the aqua hot, the temperature just seems to be much more consistent throughout the rig. Big difference. And then the full-size bathroom in the back versus we had the mid-size bathroom before, and it was it worked, but it wasn't like a personal master bath. This feels like it's an actual master suite in the back with the closet and everything back there.
Yeah.
We do a lot of national parks. That's kind of a lot of where we spend our time. With this rig, we've started out with a couple rallies for the Renegaders. So we have been, my goodness, we've had it not even a year, and we've got 17,000 miles on this thing. So she's been to Palm Springs. I say she, her name is Sherman. Sherman has been to Palm Springs and South Dakota and Shipshewana, Indiana, out to the factory to do the tour right after we picked it up. It's been everywhere, but Yellowstone this trip. We've probably done 8 or 9 national parks on this trip. We were just talking about that. And then, trying to beat the weather home now, unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm not sure which, but it doesn't feel like it's been a tough trip with as much space and convenience that this has. It's been easy travel. It's not like you're going, I have to be home, or I've been in this too long. You feel like you can still keep going and it's not a big deal.
Yeah, and our routine the last 2 or 3 seasons has been, we go out in the spring, to get a taste of what's to come with summer. And so we'll generally leave Sandpoint and we'll head south. We have a son that lives in the Scottsdale, Arizona area. And so we'll go down and have an excuse to visit him. And we'll do kind of a big loop through the Southwest. And then we'll put it away for the summer months. Generally, we like to be on our lake up there in Sandpoint for when the weather is best. And then we go back out again, usually late September, early October, and stay out until the first snow really starts to fly in early November, and we come back. So we go out anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks at a time, a couple times a year. And it's pretty much like Tina mentioned, it's anywhere and everywhere. And it's been, like I said, really resilient for us. Yeah, so we had originally a Class C, your typical Winnebago style with the kids when they were younger, and we outgrew that, and we were looking for something different, something a little more hefty, and we didn't even know that there was such a thing called a Super C, and we were coming back from one of the national parks. Was it?
We were coming back from Yellowstone, and it was we were living in the Portland area at that time, and we were coming back, and it was a really bad windstorm. And the gorge gets wind that's pretty bad, but this was so bad we probably should have pulled over. And he just kept driving, and he's like, this is horrible. And so all that to say, once we got to the point that we realized we wanted to probably get a different rig, it's like, okay, do you get a trailer? Do you get another semi or another RV of some kind? And he says, look, he goes, I'm going to have two criteria. He goes, if I'm going to drive it, I want it to be fun. And I don't want to take more than 5 minutes to set up or break down. And with that, you start to really narrow down the scope of what you want as a vehicle. And that really kind of drove us to start looking around. And then he says, hey, they have this category, the Super Cs. And I remember him showing me the pictures. I'm like, wow, that's kind of cool. I'm like, wow, that's really big. And my son's sitting there just going, yeah, that's awesome, Dad. And made some phone calls and started talking to, it was Marty, I think, at that time. And just really, really pleased with the way the conversation went, and wasn't pressure sales.
No, not at all.
If you're wanting to talk about it, we can talk. If you don't, that's okay too. We'll catch you when it's a process maybe that works for you. But just always have been super easy to work with, very accommodating. I mean, even the times when we've last minute going, hey, we're coming through, they find a way to get us worked in and get a couple things worked out for us. So, and listen to ideas, like if you're wanting certain things, silly as it is, it's the cup holder and the phone holder on the passenger side that is a 3D laser printer thing, but it is like one of my favorite features in the rig, because the other girl, we never had that in initially, and you're always like, what do I do with my cup? What do I do with my phone? Why do you have two cup holders and I don't have a cup holder? And at the rally this time coming back, that was one of the number one things that the passengers, a lot of the women are passengers, and they were complaining about it. And we're all taking pictures. There's 2 or 3 of us that have these. And we're like, I've got one. You just call IWS. They make them, So always been, it's like the ladder that we're going to get put on this time. It's always been such a great experience. And you feel like you're part of a family. Yeah,
right. That's really what comes home for me, is you feel like you're part of the team. What drew us to IWS was just service first. I mean, there was, like Tina mentioned, there was no pressure at all. It was all about the education. Of course, we stumbled across a number of the videos explaining, the rigs and how they operate and all the features and functions and the differences between, a Super C and maybe a Class A or a fifth wheel or et cetera. And it just got to a point where, you want to enjoy the experience. You don't want to be spending all of your time in a shop. And that was one of the reasons that drove us to Renegade. But the other thing was, if you do have to come to a shop from time to time to get maintenance done, or you've got a question or two, IWS was always right there with the answers. Very flexible, very available. And again, for me, it's been all about the service and feeling part of the team. Yeah, we have made some plans already for the next couple of years.
Yeah, we're booked already for the next two years. So next year we're doing Sedona and the air balloon lift down in New Mexico, I think it is, right?
Yeah, Albuquerque.
And that's part of a Renegade rally / a fantasy RV package that was combined. It just happened to work out that they work together. And kind of a bucket list. I mean, that's kind of, I think, where we're at now is you're checking, but if you're not doing national parks, then you're doing bucket list things. So we have that planned. We have an Alaska trip planned in 2025 that we're going to go up for 2 months, and it's a Renegade only. So there's a bunch of Renegaders that'll be 20 of us, I think, going up and doing the whole run around of Alaska, which, I mean, we could probably do it. We know some friends up there now through IWS, of all things, that we've met that are like giving us a hard time going, why are you doing it, through another group? And it's that unknown. If you have a problem, well, there's, like we've learned at these rallies, there's a lot of people around that have had different experiences, and somebody will figure it out. If you have to be able to do it and you can't get to a dealer to get it done. But yeah, and then spring training is usually April. So, we'll do spring training down in Arizona. We'll see our son. We'll drop in and see our daughter in Denver. And it's kind of a big loop. It ends up, you slow roll it, it ends up being 8 weeks. And then you're back in time for spring and planting time at the farm. So,
right.
The farm and the lake.
Behind the wheel, putting on the miles, windshield time. But
and then somewhere, we've got bucket list items that we'll be trying to figure out how to work them in. I mean, it's silly to say that you're going, I feel like I'm already 3 years down the road planning, but we are. I mean, Oshkosh is on that list to go out and go do the air show, and that'll be, 60 days probably we're planning on. And Georgia, go down, and there's some Renegade stuff going on down there. So just...
yeah, it's a really great community that we've joined, not only through IWS, but just the brand as a whole. There's an exceptional amount of great people that are involved in the Renegade community. And it's relatively a new community. They really weren't doing a lot of the rallies and meetups and those types of things up until about a year ago. A couple of folks kind of got together and decided, let's organize this. And now you have a hard time getting into some of these events if you're not quick on submitting your request, right? Or somebody that knows somebody.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of great friends that we've now met through the Renegade community, some of which are obviously IWS customers, and they rant and rave at every opportunity of how positive the experience is, and as we do as well.
Yeah,
so
it's funny to be there, and everybody's like, well, where'd you get your rig from? We got ours from IWS. Oh, I know them. I mean, everybody knows Chuck, and everybody knows IWS. And always, if they've had any interaction, the conversations are always very positive.
Super positive, yeah.
It is always funny. That is one of the main
small world.
Yes.
So, for sure. We are Tina and Dwaine Omyer, and really appreciate you watching the video today on IWS and our experiences with IWS here in Mountain Home, Idaho. We would encourage anybody that's interested in getting into this space of recreational vehicle to please contact IWS. They're terrific to work with. You won't be disappointed in your experience.